Welcome back to the comic book collection update. And I gotta say, we have 6 comics that are about to basically, I don't know, because I haven't actually finished reading all of them. I'm making this video now. But the only thing is, I have the last of the Stranger Things Tales of Hawkins 2. I have the Unchosen last issue. I think this is going to be the part 1 of the series because it's going to continue on. You can tell. Look, I got all the comics right here in front, y'all. This is probably the end of, or they probably got a few more of Batman, Batman Gotham Gas by Gaslight, a League for Justice. Um, the cul-de-sac still going, Event Horizon still going, and we got Marvel Knights, The World to Come. That's still going. With that, all that said, that's the ones we have. Um, I'm ready to read. I'm not gonna lie to you. I read Stranger Things last issue. It was actually pretty good, but that's because it was just basically carnage. I'll let you tell because I already recorded that one. Um, After this video, I'm gonna read the Unchosen one because it did a lot of explaining for the last issue, but it left off with like, oh, and basically it shows that you'll find out when I show it. It just shows improves some stuff, and it did leave off to where like, oh, I will be picking up the next stuff. To me, like to me, it will make me pick up. It might let me to you like, oh, they did that and fucked up. They could have just, they could have did more with that, or it's anybody. It's how you take it. I seem like I'm gonna read when they start making more of it, because they ended off with the beginning. So these 4 issues was just the beginning. Besides that, let's get into it and let's start off with Stranger Things. Netflix Stranger Things Tales from Hawkins 2. The last issue of the 4-part series, limited series. I'm not gonna lie to you. The last 2 was interesting. I really don't know the character from the third one, but I gotta say, if I put them in order, I gotta say, like, from least to greatest, it have to be the second one, which was about the zombie kid. Well, no, no, no. Let's put the first one. It actually went in order: first, second, and third. Now fourth, from least to greatest in order. The first one was the least, and this last one is the greatest one. And I really enjoyed this one, and it's only because I enjoyed Animal Planet and learning about animals especially when I was younger, and like on Snapchat, I look at this guy ant farm thing, and I just learn about ants and all kind of bugs and all kind of stuff. But the reason why I'm saying this is because this is how this issue starts. Starts in the lab. Guy getting some candy. He goes back to some chips. He goes back to his desk, and he's listening to a program about apex predators. God damn, I struggled on that. But anyway, with that being said, it's the creature in Stranger Things that have the little open his mouth and walk like a human and stuff like that. It's basically an apex predator where it's at, and what it is that someone attracts it while it's in the other world. Like some way somebody went into the other world, snuck up on it, and like, well, not really snuck up on it, got too close. It screamed at it. Person nosebleed and disappeared. And he tracked the blood and he realized where it come from, and it came into our world, well, into Hawkins or whatever the place is called. And with that, it went there and it found the portal. And in that portal, it walked into that lab where that guy went to get the chips, and he started attacking all the scientists. Why? And then the reason why I'm saying I like the Animal Planet thing is because of this right here. While the show was going on, it was basically just saying how sharks are one of the apex predators in this area and explaining things. And while it was giving all the details of the shark and how it is an apex predator, it was showing how, in the same sense, that creature is, by how it was going after the humans in the laboratory. And it went after so many people. This is going to be actually a short little thing I'm doing. but it went after so many. It just started turning like just terrorizing everybody. It just tore up everybody in the lab. And once like the security came and chased it out, it ran. It started attacking wild animals and stuff like that. And it attacked the kid. It then all of a sudden, while the cops were trying to do a little search for the kid, a guy was up there complaining how kids were stealing stuff from his gardening gnomes. And when the cops wouldn't help, he was like, "I'm gonna take them into my own hands." And when he tried to take it in his own hand, he ran across this creature and it took it out. And it was like in the little thing where there was talking about sharks being apoplectic. It was talking about how humans are not on it, really is not on sharks' radar for food, and it it contradicts what was going on with the creature in Stranger Things, where it's like, oh, it was snatching them up. It wasn't even really eating them; it was just killing them. And with that being said, with that little information, like it started saying, but is humans really apex predators? We don't have nothing that really actually go after us, and we are we apex predators in ourselves? And it's like, but we won't ever find out until we find something, and we have new discoveries all the time. Eventually, will we find something that would actually start threatening us? And it was saying about the creature. So basically, it was the good read because it was just like a creature just running wild and like giving little things like that to us, like little things like that, like well, like I just said, the Animal Planet type deal thing. Besides that, just the end of the series. I actually enjoyed this last one. I ain't gonna say. I'm gonna say like this: the whole thing, all four parts, it's really not worth it. It's like a 50-50. You like the last two, if and I'm gonna really say you might really enjoy the last one of this of the four parts, but like the other three is question. Like third one is questionable. Then the first two is like, that shit was boring. Unless you know stuff about Stranger Things, then that's different. All right, so we have the Unchosen. So this is the last issue, and um, I'm gonna say like we got a decent issue. To me, it's a decent issue. I'm not gonna say for you guys. It leaves off with some mysteries, but it also solves a little certain things, and it also clarifies some other stuff. So, with that being said, let's get into it. And we start off where basically it just shows that the place that she was at, Ada was at, is a horrible, actually a horrible place, because the master just starts showing her true colors in the first, like the first page. The master asks she's gone, and she says she's gone. Riley says yes, and she was like, "Look, I'm tired of playing around and coddling, like basically coddling these children. It's time to get serious. We got to find you, girl." So she says, "Bring me a child and bring me the boy." And there was like the boy, yes, bring me the boy. That's all it is, And it's they're about to do something to a boy. We don't know what's going on. So next we go to Ada. Ada's at this other place, and this place is where she learns about uh what's the place called actually? The Airy, Aerie, Airy. We're gonna call it that, the Airy. So she's at this place called the Airy, and she's learning about the whole situation with the group she was at. So she was at the tower. Ada was at the tower before she came to the Airy, and the Airy is the not the Airy. The tower is one of several different plays connected with that is part of this group called the Choir, and the Choir is uh not worshiping, but like basically involved with this shard that Ada touched, like in the couple of like last chapter and stuff like that. So basically, the other facilities are the tower, the shield, the spear, the wheel, and the forge. These are the choir, the organization, the choir, and these the other schools, and basically they all learn, like they all basically are around the shard. With that, information, you understand that the shard is a one thing entity, and it's just not at the tower, it's at all the schools. So is it different shards at the school, or is it just some other thing? And it's some other thing. Basically, if basically she gets explained that it's the mint is out of our world, and it's just basically poking its head in ours, but at the same time, like it have several different points that it's pointing at. And with that information, you know that like so you understand like it's just showing like different parts of itself to us, but we're not getting the whole picture of it. And with that, you know, we need to understand that there's a place that it's at that the choir and stuff wants to get to. And I'm not really sure. I don't know if it's the choir or some other stuff, but they want to get to. But because that was a little thing. But it's like there's another world. And with that being said, they asked like, "You touched the shard." They asked Ada, "You touched the shard," and what she got from it. Like, what did she sense? She was like, she said, "I seen blending light and darkness, and screaming and blood." And it was like, man, that seemed like a messed up ass dream. And it's like, no, it was a nightmare, you know. And everybody they're trying to find like in the group that they are. Wait, who's this woman actually? Who it is? Um, I gotta find where this woman's name is, but the woman who's actually Dr. Earthman, Ehrman. So the doctor, we just call her the doctor. The doctor's basically like explaining to her like, so what's in that shard is just basically darkness, and it wants to get out. And the choir thinks there's a key to get to them, even though like they're training people to fight the darkness and stuff like that. They don't realize like the shard is the darkness. That's what the doctor's telling her, Ada. And it's like, if you don't understand that, you got to understand like the shard is not is just a door to them. It's like you don't understand what are the full thing of the shard, but it's like a door. And they thought all the kids, like the group that came snatches grade Ada up to go to Airy, they were all thought to be keys, but they wasn't keys. And they was like, "Hey, Ada, you might be a key." That's what they're saying. You might be a key, and just like us, you might not be a key. And once you used up, all kind of stuff. So basically, the darkness is evil and stuff like that, and then the darkness wants to get out, and those people later on. So basically, you know, Ada's alone, and she start tossing to NASA, whatever the one of the chicks from the other group, and one of the women from the other group, and like from the group that snatched her up, and like that's at the Aries with her, and she's like, "Man, I just want to find my mama. All this is scary. I feel like I feel so much in this situation. I feel like I feel Ada's basically saying I feel angry, scared, and confused, all that in one, and it's like." NASA before that, NASA was telling how everybody else was like have these feelings because of what the school has done, and now you feeling all of that is crazy. But she wants some. Ada wants a mother, and they were like, "Hey, we'll go find her." So they went back to the place where this all started at, and it's destroyed. And they found out that it was a military facility base, and Basta he's able to like do some searching, speak words for searching, and he tracks down a little area where his mother was be that has connections with a mother. And Ada was like, I remember this place somewhere, and she's getting like little glimpses and flashbacks of certain things. And I'm gonna tell you like that. If I'm looking at these panels right, it looks like the mother in a bed, Riley there, but you only see the back of his head though. You don't see him. You see what this guy is a soldier peeking in, and then it seems like Ada's mother sees, and then something happens. That's all it is. Uh, Boston says, "Look, this is all it is, and it ends right here." And it's like, oh, Ada was like, "No, you telling me my mother's no, 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 no. It would tell me if your mother's dead." Boston says, but there's something else. It seems like the nexus have a strong connection here. Let me see it. And he starts searching. And he said, "Yes, there is a strong connection here, very strong." And he's like, wait, and boom, he gets flown back. And he's like, Buster, what's happened? And like she tried to go, no, it wasn't next, it's a pendant. And like Ada went to go grab the pendant, and Buster was like, wait, no, don't touch that. Don't touch it at all. And he was about to explain what the pendant is, and like then you hear the master shows up from the tower and be like, the pendant did exactly what it is. The pendant have like some other people there, like she had Riley and some other people there with her, and she's like, hey, I'm done playing with you. Come here. We don't have these. We don't have time for this. My patience wearing down, and the tower want her back. And Riley's trying to explain to her like, just come. And Ada's like, there's nothing to explain. And when Riley raises his hand, there's like, this is one of the mysteries I was talking about. You see in her hand, like wrapped around his hand, is like this bracelet with a tag on it. And Ada's like, oh my God, I guarantee you it's something from the mother, and something's going on. And the master said, enough of this. Bring her here. And she sticks this thing after her. She calls it the Hound. The name comes later about it. That it's called the Hound. It's she says it later. She don't says it very at the very moment what I'm talking about. But so I didn't expect this story to go this long, y'all. I'm going to detail. I got the comic open. So basically, they're finding the Hound, and like everybody's getting knocked out. That's with Ada, and Ada says, "Look, I'll come back with you. Just stick it off." And the Hound attacked Ada, and like the Master says, "No, I need her alive." And the Hound's not being able to be controlled by the Master, and the Master's like trying to stop the Hound, and the Hound's not listening. And Ada and like everybody's like scared, like worried and stuff like that. Like the group that she's with, they're getting captured up, and like Marcus is like still getting tacked, and like Ada's looking at that, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, what's going on?" And she ends up like screaming out no, and then she says no, and a big ass beam of light gets shot out. Boom, and like all of a sudden, like smoke and debris in the air, and like everything start to clear, and the group that she's with looks at like they all freed, and they just looking at her, Riley looking at her, and like Ada's like trying to come through and being able to see, and then she looks over where she hit the Hound at, and she sees that it's a kid, Elza, one of the kids she was from the beginning of the story, and it's like, what did and Ada was like, what did you do? And like Riley tried to explain, and like the master was like, no, you come fool, and come with us. And Ada's like, I don't know how y'all did this, but this is messed up. And like they all like now the group that Ada's with is like, hey, how did you do that? And it's like, you spoke with a power beyond anything I thought that was not NASA said. And then like he explains that, they're gonna come for you and they won't stop. But like they won't stop until you're released. And like Ada's like, after seeing what they did, like turning this kid into a hound, oh, they could come after me. They could try. And I'm gonna burn all to the fucking ground. I'll burn them all to the fucking ground. That's the exact words she said. So that's the ending. And he says this is the beginning. So whatever happens after this is might be amazing. I'm not gonna lie to you. I can't wait. Because that ending was like, what the heck? Her power's strong. But you already figured that because she's the main character of the thing. But it's like, yeah, that what we wanted to see. That what we want to see. So I don't know when the next parts come out, but I'll be there to read it. All right. Batman Gotham by Gaslight, A League for Justice. What issue is this, man? Issue 4. So I'm gonna say this. It's a decent action. Some words in it. There's some dialogue stuff in there that's important by a little bit. But let's just get to it. Basically, Mr. Central, the Bat, Green Lantern, Manhunter, and Diana pulls up to Zod and Mr. Central. Um, he tried to be diplomatic and try to talk to him and tell him like, "Hey, you're not the last Kryptonian. We're here together. How about we just talk this out? Let's go to a saloon, to a bar, and just talk." And Zod hit him with that was laser beam, my boy. Made that man fly. And Batman was like, or Gothamite, I think they call him. Is his name Gothamite? I think that's what he is, Gothamite. So he basically sits up there. Was like, you know what? We're not being diplomatic. It's time to get serious. So let's fight. Let's fight him. Let's try this little plan I got. We get one chance at it. I'm gonna just tell you now that one chance comes and it actually does well. It just still didn't work out, but it ended up working out still because of what it does. But anyway, Diana picks up. Also, who was with them was a strange Adam. For he a strange Adam, and she tells Strange that, hey, you can't fight here. You can't really handle what's going on. So what we're gonna need you to do, we need you to go away, seek refuge, to tell our story if we fall. And with that, Manhunter tries to read Zod's mind, but he's like, hey, Zod is armored up that it blocks my stuff to get to his mind. So this won't work. So Green Lantern was like, hey, I'll try to do something to open his to take off his helmet. And he shoots a beam, boom, it reflects off hit Martian Manhunter, and it makes him fall. Here's the thing. Zod knows about the Green Lantern Corps, and he was like, man, the Lantern Corps actually left this planet because of what's going on, what I did, because of me. So you're reading Zhong Li's ring as a child plaything, and you think you're worthy to take me on, and like Green Lantern was like, "No, this ring been calling for me, and I think it's because of this meeting right here." Man, Zod actually gave him his prop because they were shooting beams at each other, and he was like, "Hey, our powers actually equal." And it's like, but the thing is, you're not a murderer, so why do you, why aren't you one? And he was like, "I don't need to be one." And he was like, "You're a fool," and boom, punch him and drop the Green Lantern. So Diana tries to take him on. She hit him with the lasso, got him binded, got close, tried to hit him with a sword. Boom, it's not overpowered. He stopped that. So Strange Adams goes checks on Martian Manhunter, and Lex Luthor pulls up, and he's Strange is like, man, why do you trade us like that? And he was like, man, I'm just, I'm here from some other stuff. So you don't worry about that. And well, you gonna find out really. And Strange Adam was like, you know what? How about we sit up there? You talking a lot, but how about we? I'm about to show you how you lack in a field, and that's throwing these hands. You hear me? And it's like, how about we do it? Marquise of the Queensberry rules. And Lex Luthor was like, I think not. Bow, bow. I got that sticky. Icky, icky, icky. Shot that man. So with that being so, and then that scene ends right there. So Diana, because she's not Wonder Woman in this one, gets you know gets done in and dropped. And I was like, man, these guys, y'all some puny tail champions around here. So Batman throws a rock. Gotham might throw some stuff in Zod's eyes, and then throws a little smoke, little bomb or whatever like that. And I forgot who this is. Julie something. What's her name? She's part of the League of Shadows and stuff like that. And she's like, she basically, she's with him to basically kill. Like they're about to try to do something like that. It seems like they was about to try to stab Zod in the mouth. Oh no, slit his throat, but it didn't work. And Zod was like, "Hey, whoever did this, you're about to your shall to be death of 1,000 agonies." And the thing was, it wasn't really, that like they messed up. They couldn't really slice his throat, and like he shot a beam. And when he tried to do something, he realized, "Hey, where's the power supply for my suit, the kryptonite?" And got the mic. He had it. and he basically was like about to shoot it, but Zod shot a beam, destroyed the gun, but it cracked though. But when it dropped, when the kryptonite core thing dropped, it cracked. And with that, you know, uh Zod was telling me like, "Hey, bro, this suit does a lot of things, but it cannot pay. It's it's important I have that." And then all of a sudden, Mister Central comes up and boom, stops him from like trying to kill the Gothamite, and that's when Zod realized, "Oh, you may actually be Kryptonian." So we cut from there. We go to the Wayne Manor, and you have like you know Cyborg's equivalent and the Flash and the Huntress there, and they're just trying to understand what they are. The purpose of the Cyborg variant is like basically he like they was all used by Lex Luthor. He was supposed to show his mastery of our Cyborg was supposed to be used for the mastery of the Metalo machine, and the Flash was supposed to be as the basically like matter and energy. So yeah, matter and energy, and with that, but then also Constantine Constantine shows up, and they treated him like he was like unwanted because he stole some stuff from Bruce, and Constantine was like, "I'm really here to save the world, and I'm gonna need y'all to come do this with me." And it's like, do you really, you know, trust your husband, fiance, or whatever like that with old girl that's out there? And I do trust him. And like she was like, I do trust him with him and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, okay, well, shoot, let's go out there then. And well, let's go. But I think we should go out there to help him. And that's when we go back to the scene, and Mister Sentry was about to try to pick up the little core of the kryptonite thing, and he found out with his crack the radiation hit, and you found out like Zod armor can protect him from that. But when Constantine and the others shows up, they ended up fighting against Zod, and they come to find out like he Zod don't have super speed, so Flash was out able to run him, shock him, and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, Cyborg was like, "Hey, you know something? I was made from Kryptonian technology, and I was made for this." Boom! A shockwave pulls out and knocks off all Zod armor, and Zod get affected by the radiation. And then Green Lantern contains it, helps Mister Sentry up, and Diana ties up Zod, and Huntress went to go help Bruce, and then it was like, hey, Bruce wakes up and like Tyler, and because that's the little leader Shadow Woman, and like Tyler's like, hell up, why are you worried about this woman? You know what I'm saying? And she had to tell her like, hey, I'm your fiance. That's who helped you. And you could say they have a little thing, and like everything's coming to an end, and they see that they won with against side, and they wondering like, hey, where's Strange Adam? And there's a medallion that they needed from Zod, and like that's missing. And then everybody was like, hold on, where's Lex Luthor? Lex Luthor took Strange Adam, who got a bullet wound on him, and they're out in like Alaska. And then all of a sudden, boom, a solitude, a little thing, a pyramid, a upside down pyramid comes from the ground, and they are about to go check out this place. And like Lex Luthor's like, this is gonna be our love. We need a place of solitude. You know what I'm saying? So I think they got two more issues of this, and I can't wait because this got real good. This got real good. All right, now we starting cul-de-sac, and I gotta say, well, it's a decent one. It's a decent one too. Um, so the last issue we started off with an explosion. I'm not gonna actually open this one up and look through all the chapters and then to see things. If I do, hopefully I don't have to. But if I do, it's like to get a little point for things. But I shouldn't because it's really simple. The kids were just basically running away from the explosion, and they split up. And the boys went one way, the girls went the other. both the boys seen the female vampire. Actually, let's bring it back. Let's go back to the explosion. So that group that also was chasing her, not just the that one woman, Jagger, they they seen Jagger. You know, like Jagger got knocked out one of the guys there, but then like something when the explosion happened, somebody had a flashback of when Damon first met vampires, and then all of a sudden, when they snapped back into it, they seen everybody around and they was trying to help, and they seen Jagger in vampire form flying away. So I just wanted to throw that out there so you know about certain things that happened later on. So now that we know that information, so the boys separate from the girl, they split up. The boys looking for a car. Calhoun finds one, but before they find one, they seen Jagger flying in the sky, and they was like, "Oh, I hope they going after the girl so we can find a car, and then we'll go get them." Um, they find a car that was unlocked, and Jagger tells I don't even know what's your boy name, but they tells him that the other boy that hey, normally when you have locked door like cars that's unlocked, they normally keep the keys on them, and that is Robert. Yeah, Robert. Calhoun tells Robert like normally when a door's unlocked, they normally keep the keys in here, and boom, keys fall from over the top of the thing of the visor. So that being said, they found the car. Now we goes back to the girls. The girls are running from Jagger in vampire form, and like people outside is seeing it. Jagger's killing people. Killed a security guard with a gun, and like they're hiding in a little perfume clothing store. And the girls was like, "Okay, what we're gonna do? What can we do here?" And you know what? I just thought about it. I don't think they says the girls' names in this story. I'm not pretty sure. It's not, you see, already got to open the book back up. So that is wild that I have to already do. Oh, Gail and so Gail, I remember Gail. So Gail and her sister basically was trying to figure out to get away from Jagger. Jagger like basically using her nose to pick up the scent. And when Gail noticed that, she was like, I know what to do. She was gonna they use perfume to hide the scent. The phone goes off, right? So there's two things that Jagger could do. She could go after the sound of the phone or the scent. And Jagger was like, I'm gonna trust my nose. And boom, her nose betrayed her. The kids escaped. The girls escaped, and they found Calhoun and Robert in the car. Boom, because the girls used perfume to hide their scent, and she took the phone with her and stuff like that. So Jagger chased them down. Breaks up, dams into the car, and Robert, he's driving the car. Says, "Oh, there's a stick shift," but he don't know how to really drive it. So they were driving, and then all of a sudden, Robert sees something, and like Jagger's on a certain side of the car, and is like, "Hey, hold on!" And he runs straight into a truck and barely misses it, but it hits Jagger, boom, and slams Jagger into a car. Jagger's wounded and have to heal by killing somebody and restocking on blood. Now they gets away. They're just doing some driving. They're trying to go to Texas. Now we go back to the group that's chasing down the kids to find out stuff. They don't believe the kids are vampires or necrotels. And basically they call Thrall to ask him, is he hiring vampires to hunt vampires? And Thrall had to tell him, like, man, look, I hunt vampires. And I don't want you questioning about what I do and the things like that. Just stand down and stay out the way. But then you see a scene where Thrall got fangs in his mouth, and it's like, yeah, he's a vampire too. And so they and he's drinking blood. So it's a vampire killing vampires because he's looking for the Necrotales and he want to kill the Necrotales for some reason. Now, it might be because of the food chain. He want to be on top of the food chain. But also the group finds out that the Necrotales are basically they find out the Necrotales hunts and kills werewolves and vampires. So it's like they like a little bit weird. Like they're trying to understand, and they're like, well, if the kids that, well, we found out the kids ain't really vampires, so we need to find the kids and help them out. because there's a vampire after them. So get back to the kids. The kids are on the run. They're at a food place, and this is a very important part because Cahoon and Gail are the ones that ate like live things, but they didn't really eat it. Like Cahoon ate a rabbit. Gail absorbed the life force. I thought it was flames she shot out of her hands. No, the flames actually absorbs the life force out of people. She absorbed the life force out of a full grown man. So she can't eat food, he can't eat food. But they drive by the diner and she was about to pretend like she can eat food. But Calhoun was like, you know, you can't eat that. If I want to see you eat that because you know darn well you're gonna throw up. And they didn't get the chance because they found out their faces are all on the news and stuff like that. So they had to leave out. But Calhoun found out that well, Cal, let me just call it yeah, Calhoun. I'll call him Calhoun. I don't really know his name. But like he finds out that it's not that you can eat living beings. You could take the life force out of almost anything. He took the life force out of bushes, rose petals. So that means they actually that's why they hunt more than just people. They don't hunt people. They hunt actual like things. Like they don't even have to kill people. They can just exhort plants. So that's like a weird that's like a thing that's pretty cool to notice. So that being said, they did that. They drive off. A cop pulls the kids over, and the cops ask, "Why y'all in a stolen vehicle?" So I'm gonna need y'all to get on the ground. And Robert basically was like, yeah, let me just put this in a low gear," and boom, he put it in reverse, hit the cop car, boom, the cop car fell off a cliff, and he tried to drive off. The cops take shots at him, the kid screaming because of whatever, and it falls. The cop reports that, hey man, we got some kids do whatever, and they give them the plate number. So the kids are going to be getting chased down by the cops. But that gunshot did something. The gunshot hit Robert, and while driving off, Robert bleeding out, and Robert basically have the car flying off a cliff, and that's where it ends off on that chapter. So hopefully the next one, the kids make it out and Robert's not dead. I think that Robert's gonna take the life force or something, and that helps out with him not dying. But that's just my guess. That's just my guess. Event Horizon Dark Descent issue 2. It's an okay read. It's not nothing special. It just showed things going a rise, like going all uphill. And so they made the jump, and they're in whatever little dimension space where the drive has sent them. And the captain and the crew just realized, like, I think we all know this isn't right and something is wrong. We could all come to agreement with that. And what you see is that you don't see space or nothing like warping and stuff like that. What you see is like it's like organs. It's like things just around it. Like it's not understandable. And the whole crew is like a lot of the crew members are messing up. Some of the main crews that was introduced in the first issue, basically, like one of them, he has a little flashback. Devin Connors or whatever like that. Devin, he's just having a flashback of what makes him like how he is, who made him kill another crewmate. And his thing is that communication crewmate. His thing is his dad always taught him to duck and dodge because he used to beat up on like his dad used to beat up on him and his brother, and he's been ducking and dodging things his whole life, and he couldn't dodge and move around anymore after he hit that kid. And basically he's trying to run from that, and like I said, you know the last issue he killed the communication teammate. With that being said, the captain of the ship was trying to get in contact with those two and trying to get everybody to help out with some of the other crew members. And one guy, Mr. Quinn, Yusef Quinn, I think his name is, but let's just say Yusef. Yusef was just he was in a state of like he didn't understand this. He was freaking out himself. So he went to the thing that calms him down, working on machine. So he went go try to check the gravity device, and to check on that, and he was like, "Oh man, I don't even know if I can do this because the simple fact is, it don't look like it's broken. It looked like it's just sleep." But he basically ran away from everything that was going on because, like, what it is, Miss Ruben, like Ruben was trying to get him to help out. Yeah, he was trying to tell Ruben like, I can't help out. I can't understand this. I deal with machines. And like everybody was all getting messed up, ripping their eyes out, puking up blood, all kind of stuff. And he went to go to the machine. He says like it's like it's sleep, and he's saying like I'm hearing a sound that makes it seems like it's like it's like it's just making it sound like it's organic and not machinery. And he's like, I don't think I'm able to fix this. But then we have like Jennifer. She's looking for people. She walks in on people fucking, people under the table creeping out. She go in the bathroom. She's freaking out because somebody she's seen like people in the bathroom hiding. And then she's seen a blood trail and she went go follow the blood trail. Then we go back to Yusuf and he's explaining to him like I don't like he explaining like I deal with machines, and then like he opened up panels and it looked like it's organs, living organs in the goddamn machines. And he's like, he's not understanding that. And he's saying, like, wait, the the drive is working. And when he goes, something comes out of it. And the creature comes out of it is like, I'm happy you're on your knees and you didn't run because it would have been pointless. And I want you to hold this tool. And Yusuf's like, who are you? And he's like, I am and have many a names, but someone on the ship calls me Paimon, and I am the king of your hell. And I want you to plunge this tool into your brain, your broken brain, and worship me. And then we cut back to Jennifer, and she finds Devin Connors, and he's talking about it was an accident. I didn't mean to kill him. And she's like, as you know, the communication person was a female. And he's like, what do you mean him? And then she hears a voice behind her saying, me, I'm him. And I don't think he's going to be, I'm not the last person he's going to kill. I don't think I'm the last person he's going to kill. I think he's about to kill a lot more people. And it ends off there. So you're about to figure out what it is. And the person he killed was the person that was behind her was the young boy that he hit with a bike. You shows him, and you also sees the communication person also there. So it's like, yeah, we about to figure out a lot more what's going on. So uh, can't wait to can't wait because I like these little dark horror stories like this. T'Challa, 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 T'Challa. You got some fucking explaining to do, my guy. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, bro. This was a hard read, not because it was a good read. It was a hard read because it kept making you. eh, Put it this way: if I'm just gonna say, if you're black, you're going to hate every moment of this goddamn thing, right? Because like at one point it's like okay, it seems like okay, you're understanding of certain things, but then it gets to the point where it's like T'Challa, why, bruh? T'Challa, what the fuck? T'Challa, man, come on, bruh. Like, dog, like this dude here, man. I just had to get that little part out the way because it's like, but on a serious note, this is something you have to read. And let's just start off by saying, okay, so it starts off with them opening up, like, well, just crowning, like, no, how should I start this? So it's basically saying how they still trying to get Ross to come to the thing. Ross is old and they trying to get him to go for whatever reason. They trying to just get him to go over wherever. Well, they flash back to a time where when the new king of T'Challa was getting crowned, and where the new king of they went to Wakanda where they getting the new king of Wakanda is getting crowned while Kintama, his name is Kinta, people chanting his name while T'Challa's underground needing to get medical service, but he's getting denied it. And upstairs, they was like, there's people who's not really happy about it, but you don't know because they put AI chants and cheers to hide the gasping of, oh my gosh, we got a white boy as our king. And as that said, they're wondering like Ross is basically explaining like, man, look, bro, this is like basically like while he's telling the story, he's like explaining like, man, look, this is how this is where it really all began to where how it got to this point. Not the thing as in they got his child, Ross's child, and adopted him and stuff like that. No, it starts off way back in Harlem, a city of New York, 67 years before the world to come. Man, Shala's father brought him to Harlem and brought him to get tested to see if he's for real because of basically they didn't think too much of T'Challa actually making it as a king. So they trapped him in a temple with a cleric, and the cleric was basically saying, "This is now now you're like at my kingdom, and I'm God. So you now we about to find like you about to test you. So I'm about to tell you this test. This test is not the same as basically anything else. Like he's not forced to take this test. This test is actually by choice. What it is, and what I mean by that is that he's getting tested, and the test is you going to give up and be a king, or use your kingdom powers to be like, I don't need to do this. Then he fails. Or if he keeps enduring, he gets to, he gets he gets to be passed and be the next king eventually, or get the chance to be king. So let's get to the story. I'm not gonna go into details how all this is. He just they got some there's something happening when they get to this temple. It's just like a basement in Harlem, and they got two warriors from Wakanda that was upside down, and like T'Challa dad was like, hey, they should be unbeatable, and since they was able to be beaten, they need to go to wherever and get retrained. So then the cleric takes T'Challa and was like, "Hey, you know what? You're gonna be here, and I'm going to put you through a test." So T'Challa was getting beaten, and the thing is, the test was basically you got to live the lowliest life and actually be, getting trained. Basically, he was getting trained. He was paving. When it snowed, he had to go in there with just in his drawers and just you know plow the snow off the sidewalk from for the store and all kind of stuff like that. Basically, that was it was just a rough test, and he would just basically be hit, bruised, whipped, all kind of stuff like that. Well, then he meet a kid named Matt, and Matt was broken nose, all kind of stuff. He brings the Matt into the thing, and talks to Matt, chills with Matt in the basement for a bit, and they just get to know each other. And Matt teaches him about the Bible that the Wakandas use and stuff like that. The thing is, you find out at the end of all the story that T'Challa only opened that to talk to Matt. We didn't explain everything goes on, and I'm not going to go into details about that because this is already a little, a long little thing of the comic book collection update. But basically, he explains all it is, and it's like T'Challa really don't open it because he's not trying to follow the rules. So he keeps the book. He keeps the book closed. And this is a very important thing because he keeps it closed because he don't want to follow those rules because he's against those rules of the book of their Bible. And while Matt leaves, he let Matt leaves and stuff like that. And they always try to remember it. Matt was like, I'll never be able to write that name on that. But hey, my name's Matt. And all of a sudden, T'Challa get grabbed, and the cleric's like, "Hey, boy, why you help that kid right there? Blah blah blah. I'm about to show you I'm God in here, and my rules of law." and he beats the shit out of T'Challa. And T'Challa basically, his father comes, talks to him, and T'Challa's calling for his dad. And in the what the guy says, what happens? T'Challa calls for his dad, but like, what's one of the clerics says, like, basically, does he serve his king or himself? Like, or the king or the cleric. Basically, I wonder about the cleric if he's on serve the kings or himself. And like, or no, talking about T'Challa, does he serve his king or himself? He seems faithful. Nothing ever as it seems. I am with you always, though. Basically saying that, I think it's basically. I'm trying to understand that, but I think now that I reread it just now, it's not that he wasn't talking about. I think T'Challa's father was talking about himself just now, saying that does a king does he serve as king or himself? And I basically was talking about as following the clerics, and it's like that's why he says I'm with you always. And that this little part is a little confusing, but at the same time, I'm starting to think question that. I'm starting to question that because something happens later on. But we goes back, and while we go back to where the crowning of the new king, and everybody's trying to wonder, like Ross is trying to wonder why that kid looks like me, and you know his T'Challa's wife is trying to explain, like, well, Ross, your wife, and Ross said she died in the race war 20 years in, like, so there was a race war, so that's oof, that's not good. But anyway, and like they just having a conversation, and then like Ross looked back and says, the clerics are dead and T'Challa's gone. And that's like Ross been trying to say this whole actually comic, like there's always a plan. He always has a plan. That's the thing. He always have a plan. But there's something. So now we skip to the part. Now we skip to a part where basically T'Challa is basically about to have was trying to get Kingma to be king and trying to tell him like, nah, man, you're gonna be king. You're gonna serve. And Kingdom's like, I don't want to. I don't want to be king. And like that's when the cleric says, yeah, that boy can't be king. There's gonna be unrest in the city, everything like that. And the only way to really see if he's gonna be king, he got to go through a test. And basically, the test was the same test that T'Challa went through. And T'Challa was like, all right, cool. And it's messed up. So it's like this is how I explain. This is how Ross explained it to one of the warriors of Wakanda. It's like it's two temples, two tests. One kid who never opened the Wakanda Bible. That's T'Challa because he didn't believe in the way of that they wanted him to believe. And the other, and one who never closed it. That means Kinta, the white boy. He opened it and believed everything and got faithful to it. In like in both situations, there's a cleric in both situations, and one cleric deemed they're ready for it. Both characters, when the team that they're ready for their final test, one test, T'Challa's one was in a superstore, in the little the supermarket store or the little corner store, and a robber comes, says, "Hey, I'm give me your money or whatever like that," and like he was trying to say whatever. The cleric was like, "I'm just whatever," and then like T'Challa comes with the kid, boom, 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 and says, "Hey, cleric, enough of these games. I'm I'm done. Like I know my own father's assassins and stuff like that." And it's like, boom, does something that basically shows them like, look, I'm good, I'm decent. But what the cleric and T'Challa didn't know is that the assassin actually had another gun. The guy had another gun, and he shot the cleric because that was one of the guys that was flipped upside down. He didn't appreciate how the cleric did to him. And T'Challa watched the cleric die. Well, when we go to Kenta's test, it was something of the same way. And Kenta basically disarmed them, got the gun, boom, boom, and was like, yield or die. And the guy yield, and like the cleric's like, well done, my prince, your trial's done. And Child, the Kenta was like, "No, not yet," and shot the assassin. Now, there's two different things that happen here. T'Challa thing was like telling the assassin, "Let the madness be done," and pistol whipped the boy. And basically, the assassin was like, "You," he bended the knee and was like, "My sovereign king." And the cleric in the other one with Kenta was like, my sovereign prince," and bent the knee. And this is the same way. But Kenta said, "I don't think this test was really for me. It was somewhat of yours too, with me and you. You know, it was really yours. So my father wanted me to portray you. That's never truly my test, master, but yours." Basically saying like T'Challa wanted Kenta to not go on the side of the clerics, but it ended up doing something else because he was reading a book, and the cleric's like, "My sovereign prince, and I am your lover's servant, master." So basically, he serves them. Now, while back at the kingdom, when they're crowning Kenta as the king, it's basically like Kenta selling like, you speak for me and everything like that. And basically all that diplomatic stuff that T'Challa had put in place, it was like, "Nah, we taking it back. We follow only us. It's us, the clerics and the king, and we're not doing everything else that T'Challa did." And T'Challa is our servant. Like, not T'Challa, like the Black Panther and the king the king is our servant, and he's not really going to. We're basically going to rule back. We're going to croissant ourselves back with the book and everything like that of the Bible. And like, Claire comes up to him, it's like, "Hey, you need to speak to your servants now." And it's like, "I will." And before he do, he sliced his master's throat, and then he comes up, "Hear now, Wakanda, your new king. I am the door. I am the Black Panther." So he's showing that he reigns. He's gonna rule with power and strength, and basically this is not gonna be no easy little. This is not gonna be like what everybody thinks. He's showing some dominance in this bad boy. So I'm not gonna lie, I can't wait for the next I can't wait for the next issue.